Shabbat Shalom. This is Larry Mitchell with Friends of Israel. Today we are going to be looking at the introduction to the seven angels with the seven bowls or vials. Revelation 15:1. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, seven angels having the seven last plagues, for in them the wrath of God is complete. John introduces us to the seven terrible angels. Now, when I use the word terrible, I'm not meaning evil or bad. I'm meaning angels to be feared, angels whose very appearance will bring terror into the heart of the beholder. John introduces us to the seven terrible angels who hold seven bowls which will be poured out on the world. Those bowls are filled with the wrath of God. This will be the darkest and most terrifying time on the earth. Matthew 24:21 and 22. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. Unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. King David described those days in Psalm 2. Psalm 2, verses 1 to 3. A global conspiracy against God and his Messiah. Why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed or Messiah, saying, let us break their bonds as pieces. Let us cast away their cords from us. The ungodly despise both God the Father and the Messiah. They are perceived as enemies against their freedom to sin without paying any consequences for their sinful rebellion. The followers of God continue to beg the lost to repent, warning the world to flee from the wrath to come. And the ungodly do not appreciate that. Verses 4 to 6, God's response, he laughs, and then he pours out his wrath. He who sits in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall hold them in derision. Then he shall speak to them in his wrath and distress them in his deep displeasure. Yet I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion. I have set my king on the holy hill of Zion. There ain't no power in heaven, nor on earth, or in hell that can prevent the return of the king. Verses 7 to 9, the return of the king. He shall dash the Gentiles to pieces. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said to me, you are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. Here, God the Father addresses Jesus as his son. Agar is at the end of the book of Proverbs, the book of wisdom. And Agar asks a question that his wise, religious people could not answer. Proverbs 30:1-4. The words of Agar, the son of Jacob, his utterance. The man declared to Ithiel and Ucal, surely I am more stupid than any man, and do not have the understanding of a man. I have neither learned wisdom nor have knowledge of the Holy One. And he asked a question that the wise guys couldn't answer. Who has ascended into heaven or descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name, if you know? And it says in verses 7 to 9, the Messiah will dash the Gentiles into pieces. Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague with which the Lord shall strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. Verses 9 to 12 gives the only shelter from the wrath to come. Now therefore be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss or do homage to the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. He is coming back, and he will not be smiling. Jesus will be the agent of God's divine wrath and judgment. Revelation 6:14 to 17. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it was rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place, and the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich man, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man, hid themselves in the caves, in the rocks of the mountain, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who is able to stand? The Gospel of John puts it this way, John 3:36. He who believes in the Son has everlasting life, and he who does not believe the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abides on him. But there is hope. Romans 5:6 to 9. For when we were still without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet perhaps for a good man some would even dare to die. But God demonstrates his own love towards us, in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Much more than, having been justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. The Lord is coming back. He's going to pour out his wrath. Don't put off giving your heart to the Messiah. He's coming soon. Maranatha. Shabbat Shalom.